Newlyweds in love. Scenes from the 2016 wedding of Mehrai Mezinsov and Mirzat Tayyar. She calls him Pumpkin, he calls her his monkey.
It's pretty much like love at first sight.
The couple met online. Mehrai was born in Australia and Mirzat is an ethnic Uighur from China's Xinjiang region, where he worked in his father's restaurant. After their wedding in Xinjiang, the newlyweds enjoyed 8 blissful months together there until Australia granted Mirzat a spouse visa. Mirzat planned to emigrate with Mehrai to Australia in April 2017. But 2 days before their flight from Xinjiang, Chinese police showed up at their house.
He gave them their passport and they confiscated it right then and there.
That night, the police detained Mirzat.
You know, you're just newly married. You're getting ready to start your life together, and then it just gets completely thrown upside down, and then the next thing you know, your husband is in a detention center and you can't even see him, you can't even communicate with him.
Mehrai says that marked the start of a 4-year ordeal. She says Mirzat was detained in internment camps for months at a time on 3 separate occasions, while never facing any formal charges. That is until April 1st, 2021. When Mirzat's parents were summoned to a detention center and informed their son had been found guilty of the crime of separatism.
That was when I received the news that they'd sentenced my husband to 25 years.
25 years in prison.
I was like, no, that's not happening. I was like, that can't happen, they can't do that.
Mehrai believes her husband is imprisoned here, in a fortified facility that has grown substantially over the last 8 years, one of dozens of high-security camps that have recently been expanded in Xinjiang, according to analysis by the Australian think tank ASPI. Chinese government statistics, first compiled by Human Rights Watch, also show that the number of people sentenced to prison in Xinjiang spiked dramatically, jumping approximately 6 times between 2014 and 2018. Some experts believe China is transitioning its alleged mass detention of Muslim minorities from internment camps to formal prisons, a policy that more and more people from Xinjiang claim is ripping their families apart. Nairola Elima, a Uighur from Xinjiang now living in Sweden, has spent the last 3 years lobbying for the release of her cousin. Maila Yakofa, a Mandarin language teacher and mother of 3, first detained in 2018, accused of financing terrorism. Then in February, Nairola got this video call from her mother in Xinjiang with a devastating update on her cousin.
They sentenced her 6 years and 6 months.
How is your family handling this conviction?
I think they're dead inside.
The family shared this letter from Maila, written in detention, in which she claims she was forced to sign a confession. "I don't have the strength to resist such power," she writes. The Chinese government has gone from initially denying the mass detention policy to now defending the crackdown, arguing it's battling against Islamist extremism. This state TV documentary released in April claims there's a 5th column of government officials who secretly plotted to turn Xinjiang into an independent homeland for Uyghurs. It accuses this man, Ablimit Abubakar, and his brother of paying to send Uyghur teenagers overseas, where some allegedly then joined the Islamic State. How did you react when you saw your father?
No, I couldn't even recognize him. I was refused to believe that man was my father.
The accused man's daughter, Dilsar Ablimit, is a 21-year-old university student studying abroad in Turkey. She says her father went missing 4 years ago in Xinjiang until he suddenly appeared in this Chinese documentary.
My father and uncle are neither a terrorist or a separatist.
The documentary didn't say if the brothers had been charged with a crime. CNN has asked the Chinese government about their status and that of the others in our report, and pushed for answers on why so many Uyghurs are being thrown in jail. In Australia, Mihrai Mezensov clings to a letter from her husband, which was smuggled out of detention 3 years ago. She's also clinging to hope after learning her husband will spend the next 25 years behind bars.
I have to fight for him. I have to be strong for him. I have to do something. I can't just keep sitting and, being silent about this.
Do you think you'll see your husband again?
I really hope so. I can't imagine not seeing him again.
Ivan Watson, CNN, Hong Kong.
So we want to underscore here that CNN reached out to the Chinese government for comment on this story. It has not responded to our questions.